So imagine you're in the market for a used car, something new, something fresh. You really want a newer Honda Civic. You hop on Google, do a quick search, and the first thing you see is this, a beautiful 2022 Honda Civic with 248,000 miles for almost 18 grand.
Bruh.
Yep, you definitely heard that right. Someone bought this car brand new and drove it 248,000 miles or 400,000 kilometers for my friends across the pond in a little over a year. And today we're going to talk about how on earth this is possible. So this story is definitely not mainstream media or on the TVs of every household worldwide, but it's definitely made quite the impact on the car community as well as the Honda community. As we all know, Hondas are really known for their reliability. Hell, I have a 2000 Civic with 374,000 miles, but to rack up 248,000 miles in a little over a year is absolutely insane. So how did this happen? Luckily for you guys, I was able to pull the Carfax from an article online for free, even though I was absolutely prepared to pay for one because I was so intrigued by this story. If we take a look at it, we can see that the car was delivered to Rusty Wallace Honda in Dallas, Texas on June 9th, 2021 and sold on July 7th with 2 miles on the odometer, and it shows that the car was used as a personal vehicle. Just 3 days later, on July 9th, we can see that the owner brought the car in for an inspection and an oil change with 10,361 miles. 10,361 miles in 4 days if you count the day that the car was purchased. That in itself is absolutely mind-blowing. That means that the owner on average drove it 2,590 miles a day for those 4 days. I think a lot of people are so focused on the 248,000 miles in a year and skip out on this little detail. 10,000 miles in 4 days is unthinkable. I saw somewhere saying that it might have something to do with the DMV being a little bit late on registering the car and all that, and that would make a little bit more sense. But if that's not the case, 10,000 miles in 4 days, absolutely crazy. If we continue through the Carfax, we can see that the owner brought it in for service and an oil change roughly every 10,000 miles or every 10 to 20 days. So this dude was driving the wheels off this car. Going a bit deeper into the Carfax, we can see exactly 6 months after they purchased the vehicle, the car was already at 112,705 miles. Over 100,000 miles in 6 months. This continued on until August of 2022 when the car was sold at auction with a whopping 248,591 miles, only a year and 1 month after it was purchased brand new. So, with all that being said, how on earth is this possible? According to an article from carandriver.com, the owner was a medical courier who made daily drives from Dallas to Houston delivering medical supplies. If we take a look at a map, that's roughly 500 to 600 miles per day round trip, depending on the route taken or traffic. So with some quick math, in order to achieve 248,000 miles in a year and 1 month time frame, you'd have to drive roughly 626 miles per day, which actually aligns pretty closely with the information we have on the owner. Even then, it's still absolutely insane thinking about how much driving this guy did. I mean, he basically lived in this car. 600 miles a day, 7 days a week for 396 days is crazy. And that's assuming that he did this every day. I would assume that the guy takes days off of work, or maybe he's a madman who works literally every day. I don't know. If the owner of this car watches this video and would like to do some sort of interview or something, hit me up on Instagram. That'd be sick. But to somewhat help put this into perspective, let's say I personally wanted to hop in my car and drive to Los Angeles, California. That trip for me, driving from South Carolina to there, is roughly 2,359 miles one way. If I wanted to achieve the mileage that this guy did, I would have to drive to LA and back 53 times in a year and 1 month. That's over 7,300 hours of driving. This guy has to have the absolute worst lower back pain imaginable. So as crazy as all this is, it only gets a little bit crazier. Apparently, the owner of that car sold it and it went to auction, and a dealership in Dallas, Texas bought it. They listed the car on their website originally for $18,999, but it's since been bumped down to $17,899 presumably because of the backlash they've more than likely received. Now, we all know that the used car market has been quite an interesting place for the last 2 years, but in my opinion, the car is a bit overpriced. Kelley Blue Book is by no means the end-all be-all on used car values, but according to them, putting the car in excellent condition, private party, is worth at most, according to them, $11,897, which seems more than fair given the ridiculous amount of mileage that it has. But also at the same time, if you were to take $12,000, you could probably get a much better car with a whole lot less mileage for the same amount of money. But overall, I think the story is pretty crazy, and it just goes to show how truly reliable Hondas can be. There's a reason so many people, including myself, love this brand. I think it'll be pretty interesting to see if anyone actually buys this car. I personally would love to see like a big YouTuber buy it, just kind of for the novelty of it, make a video on it and kind of show what kind of condition the car is in. We can see from the pictures that the car is actually, it still looks like it's brand new, but I can see like a few dents and scrapes and stuff like that on the paintwork. That's besides the point. But what do you guys think about this? Personally, I can't even begin to imagine how something like this is even possible. To drive 248,000 miles in a little over a year makes absolutely no sense in my head. Don't get me wrong, I love driving and I love a good road trip, but I couldn't imagine how rough it is on your body to drive that much in such a short period of time. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, it would really help me out a ton if you would hit that subscribe button below. I've never been the type to ask for it, but my last video, you guys showed a ton of support, and that really means a lot to me. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.